hit me while I was sleeping. You go with the feeling, you go with your gut. Knowing death could find you anytime, I keep you top of my mind.
Yes. Wow, so gorgeous.
Thank you.
I actually just heard it yesterday when I was listening to your music to prepare.
Oh, cool.
And it's so nice. It's your latest single?
Yes. Yeah, it's the latest thing
Is
that I
Thomas
released.
Bartlett playing on it or no?
No, it was just Josh Kaufman and me.
Right. It sounds like a little bit like he added something to it, but I don't know. I imagined and I saw him with Josh a few days ago. So,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
I think those two work together a bunch.
Yeah. Anyway, wait. Thank you everyone for listening. And I want to introduce someone I'm a big fan of, Charlotte Cornfield, who came today all the way from Toronto to do the show.
All the way from Toronto just for the show.
Right?
That's my dedication to your show.
Wow. This is the best. So happy to have you finally. I will tell everyone that I know of you from the show I did with Phil, Wainrob, and Cassandra. And they told me, both of them, wow, we're huge fans of yours. And I haven't heard your music or name before. And then I got obsessed with the song, Gentle Like the Drugs, that might play later. And wow, I love all of your music. But
Thank you so much.
that song in particular is, I'll tell you later why it's really in my life. Anyway, thank you for coming. So tell us what brings you to New York.
So I am here to make a new record.
That's very exciting.
In the early days of the year, which feels really nice to just start the year off with a
Totally.
creative project.
Wow. I know you don't want to talk about it too much, but tell me a little.
Yeah, so I
mean, whatever you want to say. You can also say why you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I think I'm starting tomorrow, so I'm a little bit superstitious about talking about something before it starts.
Right.
But I can say that I'm really, really excited to work with this group of people that I'm going to work with, and just to...
You're not going to tell us.
Well, I'll tell you that I'm going to be working with Phil Weinrob,
Yeah.
who I'm such a huge fan of. And
He's
who's
amazing.
I'm
jealous.
It's been really incredible to connect with him, and I'm so inspired by his approach, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Right. He's a very amazing person to have in the studio. It's in his house, in his studio?
Yeah, in his studio, Sugar
The best.
Mountain.
Wow. And the musicians, you're not going to tell.
I might keep.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, keep
'cause,
secrets, it's
but
fun.
anyway. I'm like extremely excited to be here. And this
How long will you record for?
we're like about a week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, with a little break in between, and my partner and our daughter are going to come down for the weekend, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that too.
Yeah,
How old are you?
I'm 36.
Okay, we're the same age.
Are you 88?
Yes.
Yeah.
When is your birthday?
October 14th.
Oh, wow. I'm like 6 months after or something, like May 27th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have a daughter. That's amazing. How old is she?
She is going to be 2 in April.
Wow.
So she's about between 20 and 21 months.
Yeah. Wow. That's really like you're doing it right. I should have had a daughter already.
I mean, yeah, it's been an incredible experience. It's like, I feel like in the music community, some people have kids, a lot of people don't.
Right. So tell me more, because I feel like I'm super curious. How does it, like, how did you feel before?
Mm-hmm.
Like, about it? Like, did you think it will, like, I don't know, ruin or affect your career in some ways that you didn't want? Because I know you tour a lot, and, like, I don't know, even making this record, like, even writing songs, like, do you still do it the same way or, like, as much?
Yeah, I would say that it's changed the way that I work.
Yeah.
But I think going into having a kid, I've been really inspired by a community of musical parents who
are they?
who are doing it. I mean, there's a few different ones. I'm in a group chat with a bunch of touring parents,
Moms?
including
Yeah.
Maya, Phil's partner.
Oh, yeah.
And a bunch of other people. And there are, in Canada, Amy Milan from the band Stars, Leslie Feist.
Yeah.
Just feel like there
You're
are
friends with Feist?
I mean, I'm not friends with Feist. I'm kind of like peers. Well, obviously I grew up, especially in Canada, with a reverence for her work, which I still have. But we have some mutual people, and I've just always admired her, and we have been in touch like a little bit.
Through Bring Moms?
And through mutual folks.
Yeah.
But the record Multitudes, which was the last record that she put out, there's a lot of like themes of parenthood and motherhood on that, and it came out literally 2 days before my kid was born.
Wow.
And I listened to that record in the car on the way to the hospital, just bawling my eyes out. So it's very, I'd say very potent. But anyway, all that is to say there are sort of like people in my life closer and further afield who are doing it. And as far as touring is concerned, I've never, like, I enjoy touring, but I'm not like a super hard touring artist.
Yeah.
And I really, as a sort of anxious person, I really like having routine in my life. And
Yes.
And parenthood works really well with routine.
Right.
And so establishing that at home, and then we pull our kid out of that a little bit when we go on the road.
Yeah.
But,
And then your partner and your kid comes with you?
they have.
Come with you?
Now my daughter's in daycare full time, so it's a little bit easier, especially if I'm going somewhere like right now.
Right.
We're apart for a few days, which obviously I miss her, but like she's got her routine.
Yeah.
She's got her daycare friends. She's got
What's her name?
Odette.
Odette.
Yeah.
Gorgeous name.
Thank you.
It's like Odetta, the singer.
Well, I love Odetta. My partner is Portuguese.
Yeah.
And we wanted a name that kind of reflected that a little bit. And we've met a couple of really cool Odettes after Odette was already a name that we liked. That kind of like solidified it for us.
Okay. And it's been, what does your partner do?
He's a footwear designer.
Wow. That's sick. What kind of shoes does he make?
So he's done a lot of things in the shoe world, including making his own shoes, pattern making and designing. Right now he works for a big Canadian retailer, like managing the design of all their in-house brands. But really artistic person, and he went to art and design school. And
how did you meet?
We met on Tinder.
Hell yeah. I met all my partners on Tinder.
Yeah.
I mean, except of the first one. Sounds like, it's where it's at.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, this was like 6.
Especially if it's not a musician.
Yeah, which is so nice. Like, I love musicians. I also love not being in a relationship with a musician.
I know. I think we're rare, but I feel the same.
Your partner is a scientist, right?
That's right.
That's so cool.
Yes, it's very cool. I told you, we talked before about like people, like Ali Levy from Montreal.
Yes. Yeah.
So I know Ali from school. She went to New School with me for jazz.
Right. I think that's where I first heard your name.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, it was because I've known Ali like
I
since
love
before
Ali.
she moved here. Yeah.
And like we're not always in touch, but like we can not talk for like 4 years and then FaceTime each other or something. Like she's such a good person to talk to.
She's a really, really amazing person, an extremely talented artist, and very, I'm really inspired by her and how she is in the world, like creatively.
Totally. And now she invited me to join this like songwriting month with her friends from, I don't know, maybe from everywhere, but I feel like from Canada.
Yeah, I feel like it's maybe a Montreal focus.
Yeah.
The method. I haven't done it yet, but I've been wanting to participate. It just hasn't worked out with my schedule yet.
I'm doing it now, which is like, I hope it will work with my schedule because, you get kicked out if you're not. I'll tell everyone it's a method. You have to write a song every 3 days and there's like a prompt they give.
Yeah.
So I hope I'll do it. But I did the first one, and because I was like, that's how it's related to the science. I I didn't really know what to do, so I wrote a song. My girlfriend is researching Mormon crickets.
Mormon crickets?
Yeah. It's
like, is that a type of cricket?
Yeah, it's like scary crickets. They're not scary, but they look scary. They're like in the West only and only exist from like spring to summer. Like they come up in like, I don't know, April, May, and they die in July or something. And they form bands, huge bands. So that's why they're scary. You can see like a whole road all of a sudden full with Mormon crickets.
Like locusts.
Yeah, it looks like, it's scary. And they're scared of sound, loud sound. So the only way to get them to go, some like roads, like in Nevada or something, blast punk rock music in big speakers so they won't do that.
No way.
It's crazy. Anyway, so how is it related to the method? I didn't know what song to write. So I wrote a song from a perspective of a Mormon cricket. I don't know why it's so that's
so cool. I can't wait to hear the song.
Yeah.
That reminds me of, well, my neighbors are not Mormon crickets, but we live next door to these teenage party animals who've been having these like massive parties in their garage, and it gets really out of hand.
Yeah.
And Nelson, my partner, had the idea of like blasting opera at their house, which we haven't done yet.
That's a good idea.
But we might try that.
Yeah, you should do it. Okay, wait. So I want to, so we're talking about, how motherhood, so it works for you because you like routine.
Yes. I think also a big part of it that I should mention is I feel very supported by family. My mom and my dad are really involved, and my partner's
really
parents
helpful.
too. And they all of our families live close by.
Wait, so your partner's parents live in Toronto?
Yeah, they do. So they're from Portugal, and they moved to Toronto in like 1970.
That's so helpful.
Yeah, it's kind of how I've been able to.
I don't know how I'll do it because my partner and our families are like very far.
Well, you probably have like friend community too. I feel like
but
there's
no
like
friends will like pick up our baby. Our friends are like, whatever, see you in a few years.
It's like, it is challenging, I think, without family. But I know a lot of people who have figured out ways to do it.
So you recommend it?
I really, really love being a parent. Yeah. And it's really kind of opened me up creatively, but also just personally, I feel a little bit less serious and attached to certain ideas. Like I feel a little bit freer. It's like I feel pulled out of myself a little bit in this way that I really
people say that
like.
Yeah.
And it's just also more than anything, it's so fun.
Really?
It's so fun watching this kid grow, and now my kid is talking a little bit, and it's hilarious, and she loves dancing, and it's just really fun.
That's so amazing. I think you're one of the only people I know that at this age, like the kids' age, say it's fun. Most people are kind of like, even though they love the kid, complain, but it's nice and refreshing.
I mean, it's challenging too. Yeah. It's hard and exhausting. But it is really, really fun.
Amazing. I can't wait.
Excited.
Okay.
For you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not having kids tomorrow, but
hopefully
when
soon.
it happens. Yeah. Are you going to have another one?
I don't think so. We're kind
really?
of, we're just planning on one.
Is that popular in Canada?
I would say my like friends and peers, a lot of people are, especially if they grew up with a sibling, they like the idea of two.
Right.
There's various reasons why we're planning one, but who knows?
Yeah. Okay.
Who knows what could happen? But what's awesome is that on our block, I have two close friends who have kids, and we're just in this community of kind of like music and arts people and kids, and we all like get together for.
That's amazing.
We hang like once or twice a week and hang at the park. So, and especially with daycare too, like my daughter is exposed to tons of other kids, which is great.
Yeah, that feels like very important. To have a community of other parents and kids.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So I want to pivot for a second.
Yeah.
I don't really know exactly your
my story.
Your story, but like, are you a drummer and then you're a singer? Or like, what is the?
I'm kind of like simultaneously a few things.
Okay.
So I grew up, my dad was a symphony musician, and before I was born, he switched to the radio world. My mom is
radio. What does he do on the radio?
He worked for CBC Radio in Canada for years, doing like production of mostly classical and jazz shows and stuff. And my mom is a writer, editor, painter, but is a lifelong sort of like Laurel Canyon Songbook, Joni Mitchell.
Wow.
James Taylor.
She sings?
Carole King. She sings and sings in choirs and stuff, but she is, also just like she's the one who introduced me to Joni.
What choirs?
And all of that stuff. She sings in this choir in Ontario called the Oriana Singers.
What do they sing?
They sing a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
I wish I was like, I just went to a concert.
But generally the repertoire is like classical music?
Yeah.
And they sight read?
I'm
asking because I started a choir.
Oh, you started choir? Yeah, I think like this is like it's a community choir.
Yeah.
So it's not like
also mine.
Yeah, but it seems
so fun.
Yeah, it seems like they read and then practice, I guess.
Amazing. Okay, so you grew up in this like very musical house.
Yeah, and I think because my parents both came from some classical discipline, they wanted my brother and I to take piano lessons. So I started on piano lessons when I was quite young. The sort of like dreading to practice sort of thing. And it felt like it took me a while to find the music that I always loved playing. But when I discovered the music that I really loved to play, then I got really excited. So
what was that?
Like songwriters.
Yeah. So you
found... classic rock got me really excited. But around 12, 13, I started playing guitar at school. I never took lessons, but my mom had a guitar at home and I started playing that guitar. And then right around that time I started writing. But also at the time I was taking piano lessons, and my teacher took me and my parents aside and said, like, I don't think Charlotte's heart is in this. Like, I think she really wants to play drums.
Really?
So I started taking drum lessons, got a drum kit, put it in the basement. And so from a discipline practice perspective, I was practicing drums, but at the same time I was like learning tabs on guitar, starting to write songs, all of that kind of thing.
So interested in everything, like drums and songs on guitar.
Yeah, and keys and bass. And we just my brother was playing bass, so we had basically a full band setup at home.
Wow.
Which was so awesome because I could just switch between things. And I was really just exploring a lot of different music. But at this 12, 13, that sort of puberty age, I got really, really, really into like Joni Mitchell, Bob Dylan, Neil Young. And that music has really shaped my life in a really big way.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful to have gotten into it at that point.
Totally. Wow. And then you like started playing with other people in their bands as a drummer and other things, or what happened? You wrote
so many things
so early.
Yeah. So I was playing.
I'm sorry about this like little buzz. It's not on the show.
Okay.
But
No, it doesn't bother me at all.
Okay, perfect. I'm like scared that you annoyed by it.
No, not annoyed at all.
Okay, perfect.
So a few things were happening simultaneously. I was also playing, I forgot that I played French horn at school.
Whoa.
Which was kind of the classical thing that I continued doing.
Yeah.
So I did that through grade school, some high school.
Yeah.
In my elementary school in Toronto, there's a big Caribbean community in my neighborhood, and steel pan orchestras where they had a program in the schools where they had steel pan band, and you could take that as an extracurricular. So I played in steel pan for 4 or 5 years, and the first time I got behind a drum kit was actually in steel band, and that was when I realized that like it's such a rush to play the drums.
Yeah.
And so that was around the time that I switched to studying drums with this drummer from Toronto, Ryan Granville Martin, who's become a really close friend over the years. But yeah, I at some point in high school, I was like, okay, I kind of always knew that I just wanted to do music.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, okay, if I want to study music, at the time it was still, especially in Canada, it had to be jazz. And though I wasn't totally schooled on jazz, I just focused on jazz drumming.
I'm really good at jazz drummer.
Well, I focused on learning about jazz drumming so that I could do that in school, so that I could study music. It was sort of like a more holistic. I'm like, if I want to study music, it's going to be in this thing.
At school, it has to be either classical or jazz.
Yeah. So I did that, and Humber College in Toronto had this really great program on weekends for high school students where you could go and kind of go to jazz school on the weekend, which was cool. And that sort of got me ready to audition. And then I ended up going to Concordia in Montreal, and which was an incredible experience just living in Montreal for university.
Yeah.
And at the time, I mean, it has a really thriving music scene, but at the time it was like 2006 is when I moved there. That was like the height of indie rock in that city.
Really? Who was there?
Well, Arcade Fire was blowing up. Wolf Parade, Stars, Broken Social Scene was in Toronto at the time. It just felt like the world was sort of looking at Canadian indie rock, and that was cool.
Wow.
But on the school side, I studied with a drum teacher named Chris McCann, who I think has been a massive musical influence on my life, because as a like sort of anxious person, I felt like up to that point I was a little bit rushy in life and in music, and he slowed me down, and I got just really, really, really into feel in a really, really serious
What does
way.
it mean to get into feel?
Well, we would do exercises like play the ride cymbal, just strokes at 40 BPM for like an hour.
Wow.
And just feel the subdivisions of the beat, but also just like really, really feel it. And I remember him being like, don't tap out the rhythm in your left foot. Like, you want to feel it. And I just, that kind of broke me open, and I was like, wow.
It sounds amazing.
And he was teaching at McGill and Concordia, and he started teaching, like he was a drum teacher, but saxophone player, like anyone was like, I want to take lessons with Chris just for like time.
Yeah.
And I think he challenged me in a good way, in terms of, just like that teacher, striking that teacher balance of, I believe in you and I know you could do this, but like, let's push it further.
Yeah.
Let's work harder. Let's try to, and he really did that with love in this way that was really great. So I would say the education highlight of school for me was
do you still practice things that he showed you
in different ways? Yeah, I think I've fallen. I'm not really on a disciplined drum practicing thing
or
right
any
now.
practice like
I more try to incorporate time into anything.
By the way, the thing Phil said about you is that he loves how you're like time, like when you write the timing of the melody or something.
Oh, cool. I'm really touched by that.
Do you think about that, or just how you write?
It's just kind of how I write. And I think a lot of, words and rhythm can be married in this really cool way. And I like the elasticity of it.
Yeah.
So, I think just by being inherently into rhythm, that probably comes through in a certain way.
Wow. Okay, but you said you don't really practice this anymore, but it's like in you already?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things that I could stand to practice.
Yeah. But like, is there something you kept from it, like that sticks with you?
Yeah, I think just the connection between time and breath and space. I think space was a big part of that practice that's really made its way into my musical
Do you meditate
life.
or something?
No.
Yeah. You have a 2-year-old. You don't like have time
Yeah, I don't do a heck of a lot of like disciplined stuff like that.
But
right
I love
now.
routine.
Yeah,
I do.
You would
love that.
Yeah, I think getting into a meditation routine would be good. Yeah.
Okay, but do you still feel like you said twice that you're an anxious person? Do you feel like still like that, or you worked your way around it?
It comes in these waves. I've been thinking about it lately because I think in parent life has opened me up to, it's pulled me out of certain anxieties and put me in others.
Yeah. What new ones, for example?
Well, there's a minute of just feeling so, especially at the beginning when the baby is so small and it's just, they need you. It's like your life is that.
Of course.
Especially my friends with second kids, they're like, when the second baby came, we just like put them over there, put them on our chest and did our lives.
Right.
But the first one is just like,
yeah,
they're so tiny and fragile. And I just felt like that was what I was doing. And so when I went into the outside world, especially without my baby, I was just like, who am I? And it's this identity kind of explosion. And yeah, I think I used to be in a lot more social circumstances that kept me on the nose in terms of like throwing down with people.
Right.
Which is not to say that I'm not around people all the time and have community.
But there's a tiny bit of an isolation when you're in early first.
Yeah, a little bit. And a lot of the people that I've been interacting with are other parents who are going through a similar thing. So sometimes when I pull out of that world, I'm a little bit like, who am I? And grappling with a little bit of that right now. When I first moved back to Toronto in 2014, I spent 5 years booking and managing a venue.
Yeah, wow.
And that just definitely kept me just on my toes in terms of like hanging with people all the time. And my social chops were more a little more well-oiled. But yeah, I think I'm trying to be more sort of open with myself with the anxiety stuff, because I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with. But I'm starting to think about how it plays into certain situations without dwelling on it too much. Yeah. Anyway, so it's coming up. Maybe it's something I'm thinking about.
That's interesting. Okay, I have to ask you because I remember, what did you do recently with Katie
Gavin from Muna?
That's really exciting. I'm a fan.
Yeah, she's incredible. And
what did you do and how did that happen?
I guess she followed me on Instagram a while ago.
Just out of the blue?
Yeah, and then I messaged her because I really love her solo record.
I haven't listened to it yet, so I'm not
so
such
good.
A good fan.
It's really like one of my fave records of the year.
I have to listen.
And yeah, I think she messaged me and she basically said she had found my music, I think on Spotify or something, and had gotten really into it, which I was really touched by.
Yeah.
And it's funny, this song In My Corner that I have in the last year or so, it's reached some ears of some peers, musical peers, and others. Well, Paul Mescal, the like A-list actor.
I don't know. Maybe I know the face. What is he in?
He's an Irish actor. He's in the new Gladiator. But his breakout role was in Normal People, the Sally Rooney
I haven't
series. Watched it. And he's been in a lot of other
He told
things.
you, hi, I'm your fan?
No, he made a playlist and put In My Corner on it.
Wow.
And then someone sent me this clip of an interview he did where someone was like, if you could put one song, if there was one song that's on your mind, and he was like, there's a song called In My Corner by Charlotte. I can't remember her last name.
Wow.
Which is so funny. But anyway, I was touched by that. And a few other, especially LA folks whose music I'm really, I can't follow. Yeah, I'm going to do the Canadian thing and not.
Is it a Canadian thing to not talk about things?
Well, I think we stereotypically don't feel weird about bragging.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
It's nice. To be very like, we say sorry a lot. Here I am reinforcing the stereotype.
Yeah.
Apologize a lot and have struggle to take compliments.
Wow.
Which is I always like coming to New York and being like, this is
not the place.
This is
to
not.
do it. Yeah.
This is where you just you just have to
have some chutzpah.
You have to have some chutzpah.
Yeah. Okay, wait, but it's actually refreshing to have someone like a little more humble and relaxed.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Even though, no apologies needed.
I'm sorry.
But wait, tell me. So what happened with Katie?
Oh yeah, sorry, that was your question.
She messaged you, yes.
So she messaged me, and we were messaging back and forth, and she was about to go on tour, and she said, "Where do you live?" And I said, "In Toronto." And she said, "Well, would you sing In My Corner with me at the show?"
She wanted to sing your song?
Yeah. And
whoa,
it kind of
that's like the best thing that can happen.
It was I was really, really touched by it, and I got to sing one of her songs with her as well. And
so you went on tour there to sing?
No, I didn't go on tour. Just in Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just one night at Toronto, but it was really, I mean, the fans. I had opened for Julian Baker a month and a half or so prior, and a lot of the same young
you
queer.
Opened for all the gays, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the fans of that music, the sort of best. Young Gen Z and below queer, so they're so excited, and it's so sweet, and they're like, "Can you sign my shoe?"
Wow.
Really, really. And anyways, so there were a lot of kids at that, right, and adults at Katie's show who had been at the Julian Baker show, and they were just kind of like,
whoa.
But it was really sweet, and
Katie's so cool.
She's really, really cool.
Wow. Yeah. What's her vibe? Is there still Muna, but you just did like a solo record?
Yeah, I think the story, as far as I've heard sort of from her and other people, is these are songs that she brought to Muna over the years that didn't quite fit in the cut for that band.
Yeah.
But Phoebe Bridgers, who has the label that they put music out on, was like, you should put this out as a solo record. And so that's what she did.
Amazing. But there's going to be new Muna soon? Are you friends now, or you just did the show?
Well, we're in touch.
Yeah. Does she have a girlfriend?
I don't know.
Okay. So you're not like 100%.
No, we're very, like, we had never met before that night.
Okay,
It's not like we were messaging a ton. It was just like a mutual sort of like,
got it.
I like what you're doing sort of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Wow. And your partner and your baby come to the shows or no?
No, we're on a pretty strict, my routine thing. We're on a bedtime routine. So I went on tour with Bonnie Light Horseman in the fall, and they came, but they didn't really. Nelson was able to come to one show after he put her to bed, and we got a babysitter. Yeah. But usually he does bedtime with her, and then I go do the show.
How is the relationship doing since baby? I'm sorry, I'm asking you.
No, I'm happy to talk about it.
Is it like ruining, or you get closer around it?
Or both? A lot closer. It's definitely been it's really special to have this experience of raising a kid together. There, you get into the weeds with you have to be kind of coworkers and like divide responsibilities in this way. But I think if the communication is good, then it can work really well. And for us, it's been really great. There are little there are new kinds of stresses that come up when you have a kid. But I also just love my partner is a really really awesome person, and a very calm and patient and hardworking and sweet, caring person. So it's been a really amazing experience.
Amazing. With him. How long have you been together before baby?
So we've been together 6 and a bit years. So we were together for 4.
That's nice.
Something years before. Yeah. So we had a solid thing going.
He's your age?
He's not.
Older?
He's 12 years older.
Whoa, wow, wait. That's a whole different thing. So he's 48.
He is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does he have kids from before? No.
No. He was married before, and has been in long-term relationships before. But yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's probably like a nice perspective to have.
It's really nice.
Also, men are like kind of childish, so it's probably like at the right age for you.
Yes. And also he's not
in a bad way. But
yeah, I think he had a lot of. So his parents ran a bakery growing up, and starting from the time he was 12, like he had a ton of responsibility. And I think he's just used to being really independent and having a lot of responsibility from a very young age.
Yeah.
So when I hear people talking about their partners, like, it's like, oh, my partner forgot to do this or didn't do that. Like, that is the opposite of my experience. If anything, I forgot to do something.
Right.
So I think he is a rare type of person. But also like, the age and experience, it's hot.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
My sister, her partner is also 11 years older.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I never dated older people, only younger or my age.
Is your partner, your current partner, like a little bit younger?
A little, like 4 years.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's like a small gap. But yeah.
Yeah. But I wonder, I can, like, wow, it's really different. I feel like also like I would be scared, like from an older woman. Right?
Like you would be scared to be with
an
older woman?
Not scared, like, but there's something intimidating about like an older woman. Maybe in a good way. Anyway, wait. Before we continue with talking, can we listen to a song from Katie's record?
Yes.
Which one should we do?
Aftertaste.
Okay. Here we go. Katie Gavin.
My hair got long, your hair got cut. You wear the same old sweater. It's good to see you. We're catching up. We're talking about the weather. And I'm the empress in my new clothes. And I think that you must know. And you're taking pity on me, pretending you don't see. I feel naked when you look at my way. You can see it on my face. You're the only reason I came here. You're the only reason I stay here. And I'm living on the afterdays. Don't you tell me it's too late. You're the only reason I came here. You're the only reason it's so clear to me now. Do the dance, pretend to listen closer. I thought you left, I got upset. Your hand was on my shoulder. And I'm the empress in my new clothes. And I think that you must know. And you're just taking pity. But then you say to me, I feel naked when you look at my way. You can see it on my face. You're the only reason I came here. You're the only reason I stay here. And I'm living on the afterdays. Don't you tell me it's too late. You're the only reason I came here. You're the only reason it's so clear to me now. Give me another taste. Give me another hurt. Give me another hurt. Give me another taste. Give me another hurt. Give me another hurt. I feel naked when you look my way. You can see it on my face. You can see it on my face. That I'm living on the aftertaste. Oh, don't you tell me it's too late. I feel naked when you look at my way. You can see it on my face. You're the only reason I came here. You're the only reason I stay here. And I'm living on the afterdays. Don't you tell me it's too late. You're the only reason I came here. You're the only reason it's so clear to me now. To me now. To me now.
Woo! Wow. It's really refreshing pop.
Yeah, I
so
just
good.
think it's like so good.
I know, and she also has a really good time, right?
Yeah.
Like I love. It feels very hard to do like the here,
Yeah.
here.
Stay here. Yeah, that's my favorite part.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Anyway, wow, good job, Katie.
Yeah.
Katie, yes, okay. Anyway, I wanted to ask you. There's a world in which like someone like that will call you to play drums in their band, or it's not something you do really.
Well, it's something I did for a while.
Like you play drums in bands?
Yeah, like I've toured with people, and I still do. Like I love, especially if it's like local in Toronto.
Yeah.
But in terms of touring,
Toronto is cooler than Montreal, or the opposite? Or
that's a very complicated question.
Shoot.
I think I'm from Toronto, born and raised.
Yeah.
I moved to Montreal with this perception at the time that Toronto was stiff, conservative.
Yeah.
Like, fuck Toronto. I'm going to Montreal where it's cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Montreal is an incredible... Like, have you spent much time there?
Not at all. I have to. I've never been.
It feels like a European city because of the French influence. And it's affordable to live there.
Maybe I should go right after the songwriting thing. And
go see Ali.
Yeah.
And incredible community of people there. And it was such an amazing and potent place to come of age.
Yeah.
Because it just... I think Montreal probably with cool points, like it's probably a cooler city.
Right.
Toronto is more, it's like the center of commerce in Canada, which is one thing.
Yeah.
But it's also huge. And there's so much great everything going on. I mean, I say this and I'm sitting in New York, which is way bigger. But Toronto's a really, really, really great city with a lot of great art going on. So it's also cool.
Yeah. It's like roughly like Manhattan and Brooklyn. Like Toronto is Manhattan and Brooklyn is like cooler. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like Manhattan is still Manhattan.
Kind of. I feel like in some ways I feel like Toronto is more comparable to Chicago in feel because it's more sprawly. It's a Great Lakes city.
Yeah.
It's less density and it's really little pockets.
Right. Have you spent time in Chicago?
A little bit. I connected with Seema Cunningham, whose daughter Zulal is like very similar age to my daughter, and she was actually the one who started or invited me to this group chat of touring parents, and she's been an amazing new friend, and I think we're going to play some shows together in the spring.
That's amazing. Where? I love Seema.
I think we're going to play here. It's still coming together, but it'll be sort of a Northeast and a couple of Canadian dates.
Sick. Who is like going to be on the bill? You, Seema?
I think just me and Seema.
Perfect.
And I think we'll be kind of solo and backing each other up.
Amazing. I'll come to that show.
I'm really excited. But her community, she's such an amazing community person.
Know.
And I think you played her postdoc festival.
Twice.
Yeah, I played it. We played it this year and we brought our kid and it was just so fun.
Great. I love the whole family. Like, my parents are amazing. Liam.
Yeah, what a talented, cool family.
Yeah.
And I look at that community in Chicago. I'm like, this is an amazing community of people.
I know. It's been so inspiring for me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. They're amazing. Yeah. Wow. And it's cool that Seema is doing the mother group chat.
Yeah. And her energy, I told her after her festival this summer, because I was like, wow, not only did she just get off the road and she released 2 records this year, she's also just pulled off a really big festival.
Right.
With her family, but she's the real kind of,
I know, she's insane.
And she's parenting. And I'm so inspired by her energy and everything she does. And she's just such an amazing musician, too. I love Phenome, and I love her solo record. I love it so much.
It's so good. I have to have her on the show. We talked a few times, but it haven't happened. We didn't have a chance yet.
Yeah, she would probably be an awesome guest. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, okay, so wait, where were we coming from?
We're Chicago, Toronto.
Okay, so we got that.
Yeah,
but generally you're happier in Toronto because that's where your family is, and
and friends, and like there is an amazing music community there that I feel deeply entrenched.
How far is it from Montreal?
6 hours.
Oh, in car.
Yeah, you can fly in about an hour.
Okay,
which I actually have never done in all my years of going back and forth.
Do you go there often or no?
Well, there was a while where because my family was in Toronto and I was living in Montreal, and I've made records in Montreal,
No, but now when you're living in Toronto, do you go to Montreal sometimes or not really?
Less so now that we have a kid and we just are a little slightly less mobile. But usually I would go like a few times a year. I'm going to go in February. It does really feel like a second home. Yeah. But it's, you can also take the train there in about 5.5 hours. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I now ask you about my favorite song of yours?
Yes.
I don't usually ask these questions, but I feel like doing it with this song. Mm-hmm. But feel free to say, did I leave it for yours? Like, you don't have to, but like, what is the song? Like, why did you write it? Or like, what is it about? I have no idea.
Gentle like the drugs?
Yeah, like yeah. I think it's kind of vague in a gorgeous way.
So I did a tour, I guess, 2.5 years ago with my band. We were opening for Pedro the Lion from Seattle.
Yeah.
The songwriter Dave Bazan and his band, who's kind of a really legendary early emo, Midwest emo, which I'm not like I wasn't super familiar with his music before, but all these people were coming up to me being like, you're touring with Pedro the Lion. Like,
wow. How did it happen? Just like your booking agent?
It was through Polyvinyl because he puts out records on Polyvinyl. And I think he had...
You're not on Polyvinyl though.
And Double Whammy.
Ah, okay. Both. It's the same?
Well, they are connected back end wise, but I think I'm the only artist who is released on both.
Gotcha. So you're on both of them, and that's the label connected and said you'll open for him.
Yeah. I think they sort of pitched it to him, or I forget how it happened, and he was familiar with my record, "The Shape of Your Name," which came out in 2019. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I've done a lot of support touring over the years, and sometimes it's with friends who I know and I'm really comfortable with. Sometimes it's with new people, and there's that like slight unfamiliarity, and you want to give them their space.
Yeah.
But Dave and his crew were so incredibly welcoming with us. And
were you doing solo?
No, I was with
your band.
With my band, yeah. So there were 4 of us. And they were there was something about their energy that was very open and warm in this way that I felt like so in my element and happy to be there.
Wow.
And the shows were really great, but also...
You were pregnant?
No, I got pregnant a little bit later.
Okay.
But I was really happy in my relationship, and I knew that we wanted to have a kid.
Yeah.
But I was also so happy to be, like, I was missing my partner, but I was really, really happy to be on the road, which I think I've struggled with the road at various stages in my life. But I was like, wow, this is the first time I've been just like, I'm having a blast. And also geographically where we were, like we started in Boise, and I had never been through the desert.
Yeah.
Like Utah, Arizona, just like driving through.
It's gorgeous.
It's stunning. And I was just having these feelings of like, wow, this is so fun. I'm making music with my friends who I love, and we're like getting to know these amazing people. And I just felt so like happy.
Yeah.
And I was really, really struck by the imagery of the Southwest.
Yeah.
And so that was what I was thinking of, and like the heat of Phoenix and all that stuff. And as well as this relationship that was developing with the Pedro the Lion crew, and who were, they were
so funny, Pedro the Lion.
Yeah.
My dad is like, I don't want to get into it too much, but he's like, his name is Peli Hanam, like the tiger.
Oh, okay.
He's he invented that he's the tiger man. Yeah, exactly. And he has like a huge collection of like tiger stuff.
Wow.
So he's the lion. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's been his moniker for a long time.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I wrote that song when I got home, and I was thinking about the feeling of being sort of blissed out in the Southwest on this tour, and then having someone back home, just feeling like happy landed in my relationship.
Yeah.
And like at the same time, like, on the being kind of mischievous and not like in my head, like the gentle like the drugs thing is just like smoking the odd joint or whatever. But like, I think
were you smoking joints on tour?
Me, I don't really. I don't even know why. It's so funny to me because
you don't do any drugs.
I'm pretty mellow when it comes to that stuff. But
too.
somebody sent me, I guess there's some big like cannabis community Facebook group, and someone sent me like a screenshot of like someone had posted "Gentle Like the Drugs" in that group chat, and everyone was like, "This is like the weed anthem for right now."
I am shocked. That's amazing.
Like that is so funny.
Yeah.
To me.
Wow. So you're like big in the queer community and the drug community.
I don't think I'm like big in any communities, but I'm, you know, I like lots of respect and gratitude for that. Yeah. Anyway, the song, like it was coming from that place of
wow.
like,
So it's beautiful. And you're just like, wow, economy is wild. You're on tour.
well, yeah, I was coming back from a tour. I'm just like, I spent so much money.
Right.
This is like from an economic standpoint, it's ridiculous and it makes no sense.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, how could you take a 4-piece band for like an opening tour?
I rented Durango for like 2 weeks, and like in Canada there are some grants, but you don't always get them, and they're competitive. So I think I had applied for some grants and didn't get them, but anyway, yeah, I did it anyway, and it was so special. And I think I had been going into it with this feeling of like,
did you have that feeling since?
Musically, that's a really good question. I think because a lot of my tours after that were with Kid, and I was so in the mindset of like, it's just like so much to think about. You can't really detach. So I haven't had that feeling in the same way.
Of being like free and enjoying the music and the relationship and like...
Yeah. But I have to say, I did this tour. I did some touring in the spring with 2 artists / bands who I love. Al Many, he lives in LA, but is from Seattle originally and is in the band Great Grandpa, is also a double whammy artist. We went on tour with him and his band. He was playing with his brothers and his partner, and it was just like so sweet. It just felt like the loveliest vibes, and they're all so awesome. And then I toured with Chastity Belt, who are just such cool people.
Know so many bands. I don't even know who they are.
Such a great band. I feel like you would dig Chastity Belt. They're Seattle. It's all women, non-binary folks.
Seattle. Fun.
And yeah, they were. That was another example of I'm touring with all these Seattle bands. But another example of just feeling really welcomed by the headliner and really grounded. And Bonnie Light Horseman too. They're just I've known Aeneas for a long time and Josh for a bit less time, but they're just so.
Did you know
great.
them before you? Like Double Whammy came before Josh or after?
Before, yeah. So I signed with Polyvinyl and Double Whammy in. I feel like it was late. No, in 2021.
How did that happen? Like you send them a record you made, or?
No, my friend Evan Dubinsky in Montreal, who's a very, very dear friend and incredibly supportive. He's a close friend of Ali's as well, Ali Levy. Incredibly supportive person, music. He does a lot of things. Yeah. Works in film and stuff, but also is one of the main programming directors at Pop Montreal, which is a really amazing festival that happens in Montreal. And he knew Natalie from Polyvinyl, and he sent her my record.
That's amazing.
And then Natalie sent it to Mike and Mallory from Double Whammy, and then that's how that happened. And then they co-released it with
and
Next
they
Door
told
Records.
you like, hey Charlotte, we really love the music, like we want to release it, or there were steps?
There were steps. I think
like
it was
they said we want to come to a show, or like what happened?
Because it was still like thick of pandemic. I think it was clear that they wouldn't get to see me live first, but there's footage online and stuff.
Okay.
And I think it's with labels, I've learned over the years, a lot of it is timing too. It's like when they have the capacity and time to like invest in a new artist.
Right.
So I feel really grateful that all coalesced, because I already had the support of Next Door Records, who's been the Canadian label I've worked with for a long time.
They're good?
They're amazing. Evan Newman, Peggy Hogan. They have also been in my corner like for a really long time in this way that I feel very supported, and I feel like it's rare with labels. And now
Ali is also with them, right?
Ali is,
but also with
Saddle Creek.
How does it go that you're with too?
It's this Canadian thing that
You release the music in Canada and then...
Well, it's like financially, and I don't even know fully the bones of it, but it makes sense to have a Canadian label with Canadian distro. Because cross-border shipping, vinyl, all of that stuff is like, and then in Canada, a lot of labels have grant funding, so are able to kind of put money into marketing videos and in a way, in a different type of way than an American label would. So there are a lot of artists who are on a Canadian label, like a lot of Canadian artists who are on Canadian label, US label.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, so you said it's timing thing, and you said something about that record label.
Yeah, I think Polyvinyl and Double Double Whammy are both labels, and Nextdoor, that are really, really passionate. Everyone who works there is just a massive, massive music fan.
Wow. And Mallory was here on the show. You know that.
Yeah,
She seemed very
I listened to her episode.
Amazing.
She's so great. And they're all just really approachable, supportive people.
Yeah.
And talking about the finances of music are absolutely ridiculous right now. And I'm not a best-selling artist.
Yeah. But can you make a living out of it somehow?
I can. I think.
Can I ask you, like, what's mostly, like, where does it come from? Like,
I appreciate
streaming, touring,
not streaming, definitely not streaming. I think touring. Yeah, being at a place now where like festival offers are more substantial than they were before.
Yeah,
and a lot of it is about planning and having things come from a bunch of different, like having a bunch of different income streams.
Once Cassandra joins the show sometimes, and we had like someone who was a business manager of some musicians, and she said like how important it is to have different kind of incomes.
That's so, and
like even thing you wouldn't think about.
It's, and I do some session work on like
that's cool.
Drums and
do you manage yourself, or you have someone helping you?
I do, and that's another thing I will say about income is because especially with that passive income, those royalties, having someone not take commission 15 to 20% of those, like that ends up being like a pretty,
that's a lot
chunk of cash. And I've been self-managed for a really long time, and there have been moments where I've felt kind of overwhelmed and have like talked to managers, but it hasn't quite coalesced or been the right fit. But at this point, I am grateful to be my own manager. Also, being in a position where I want autonomy over my career because I don't want to be pressured to tour a certain amount or like bring in a certain amount of income so that or I don't want anyone like I mean it makes sense. I have financial arrangements with label and agents that make a ton of sense to me, but with manager it's a little bit more amorphous as to what a manager does, and I have friends who have had the gauntlet of experiences of like either having a great manager or having like a disaster manager. And because I've been doing it myself for so long, I think I'm just kind of like a little bit stubborn about the way to do things. But having that autonomy for me has been really great. And also, for example, all of March I'm doing a kind of musical play thing in Toronto for Soul Pepper Theatre. That's going to be like, a month's worth of income. And things like writing with other people is something I do a little bit of.
Wait, tell about that more. Like you would have a session as a writer with someone?
Yeah, and it's really just, it's mostly been people who are friends or who know me who have like reached out, but I've like.
But how does that translate to like money? Like they release the songs and you have publishing?
If they get radio play and stuff like that, then I'm the co-writer on the song.
That's amazing.
So that's something I'm kind of like dipping my foot into that world a little bit more. I haven't delved fully in yet.
You love writing with people?
I would say it really depends on the situation. I'm really used to writing alone.
Right.
So sometimes if I'm writing with somebody else, it's like you have to be able to compromise. And it's like, even if I'm not into your idea, I like my idea better.
Yeah.
You have to like be able to find so it's almost like a different practice than then.
Do you feel like as a Canadian you will tell them like that you don't like it, or you're like
I think with that kind of thing I'm very assertive.
You'll say I prefer this, but like fine.
I prefer it this way. Yeah, at some point you have to kind of like
who knows? How do you know who's like gonna call the shot?
You just agree on it, I guess. Yeah,
or like whoever's gonna sing it is gonna like, because you're not writing for like Taylor Swift with an like
no.
So if it's their song, if they're gonna sing it, they'll like decide.
Kind of, yeah. It's like it's just a back and forth conversation
for sure,
basically, the whole time. And I'm sure there are people who are like, Nashville writers and LA writer who would just be like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. but anyway, I'm just like experimenting with a few things. But I would hammer home that having those transferable skills, developing relationships is really helpful for generating work. Because if you're, I'm sure you're a session musician too. And, people you connect with and have a good rapport with are going to call you to do stuff.
Sure.
Like that's just how our world works. So, but all that. Anyway, those many different streams and staying self-managed has allowed me to, and also being Canadian and occasionally getting funding,
like grant,
is helpful.
That's cool.
Though the grant world is getting more, there's kind of less money and more people applying now. But
do you do it often? Like, let's apply for a grant.
I pretty much apply for every deadline. It's like, you just put them in, and if you get them, you get them. And if you don't, you don't. And so you got nothing.
Amazing.
To lose,
That's
really.
a skill of its own.
I have worked like with people who are sort of like professional grant writers who do that.
Like you work with them. Like, hey, will you help me? Like to learn how to do the grants?
Well, it's more like I either hire them to write the grant or hire them to write the grant. But like some people work off of a model where if you get the grant, they take 15% of it. If you don't, they don't take anything.
Right. Wow. Where are they in New York? I want to do grants with someone doing it for me. Okay.
I'm sure that
15%. Sure.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But and it's something that I would, I want to be able to do on my own too, just to like
use ChatGPT.
Yeah, I'm true.
And the other grants you did, like you just put the text and change it a little bit. I think that's what everyone's doing.
I didn't think about that with the grant world, but I guess that's happening.
Do you use ChatGPT?
I have not. No.
Okay, so listen, there's a whole world you're going to discover.
Yeah.
I was like, also like, why would I do it? But it's really helpful. In little things. It's like Googling something. It's just become another thing.
Yeah, I could stand to explore it for sure.
Yeah. I think you're against it, but you're shy to tell me.
I'm not against it. No, honestly, I'm not politically against AI.
Wow, okay.
I think like I'm a little bit scared of AI.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
scary.
But I'm always a little bit resistant with new technology.
Yeah. Actually, me too. I don't know how I got ChatGPT into like being coy with it. I would avoid it too for a while, I would assume. Anyway. I just want to tell you, we don't have a lot of time, but we actually went a little over, but it's cool because we're pre-recording. But I want us to play the song.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you, why is the song important to me? I mean, first of all, it's just a gorgeous song, and when I learned it, I was just like happy for a few days.
Oh,
but then my girlfriend and I, my fiance and I, were fostering a dog, a very sweet French bulldog named Mila, and we were obsessed with her, and she was so sweet. But we did decide to like find a family for her because she was very needy, and we weren't able to like sustain that. Like she couldn't be left alone ever.
Yeah.
And it was also not super fun to take her everywhere, which we did for a while because she was stubborn and she wouldn't want to walk. So we had to carry all the time. Like she was very anxious and amazing. Anyway, so that was kind of like our last few days with her. We were like obsessed with the song and we played it, and it was So for me, it's kind of about a dog.
Oh,
The drugs they do when you're not around.
I love that.
But then the saddest thing, and I haven't even told this on the show, but maybe I should not hide it. She died. I was in touch with her new family, which were amazing for her. They were like always with her and stuff. And we were like, I was still regularly in touch with them and asking, they send me photos and stuff. And then a few weeks ago, they told me that she's one morning just died all of a sudden. Anyway, I don't want to depress us. And at least she wasn't suffering for a long time or something. But wow, that was Mila's story.
That's so sad to hear. But I'm really touched by that.
Do you have a dog?
My family has a dog.
Yeah.
My parents have a dog. And when I got together with my partner, he had cats. So we had, the cats have since passed away, but I was new to cats and then I love
cats too, but I'm a tiny bit allergic.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, no, but I can hang unless they're like super allergy bringing.
Allergy.
Yeah. Some of them are.
Yeah, some of them are. Yeah.
I once brought a beautiful cat and I thought I was going to adopt her, but then 2 days in, I was like so allergic to her that I had to not. Anyway, I probably shouldn't have pets. Look, it's a disaster. Anyway, listen, how are we going to do it? I think I'll play.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll start and then sometimes I'll sing too.
Sure.
Like we'll trade or something? Or what do you want to do?
Well, yeah, we could trade. Like,
I'm not like good at harmonies on the spot.
Well, we could trade verses. Like,
yeah, let's trade verses. So like you and me.
In which
I'm going to do like, you're going to do Economy is Wild. I'm going to do Surprise Me.
Okay.
You're going to do In the Parking Lot.
Yeah.
And I'll do Take Me Out.
Okay, perfect.
You see how I see it as this thing? Okay. And hopefully I won't fuck up on guitar. Woo! Okay, here we go. I'll do a little intro.
Economy's wild, but the sunsets in Phoenix never go out of style. I watch the colors get real, the pink and the teal. I see a dust devil, I see an elevator, I see a Flagstaff get together. Surprise me when I get home for the first time. I really don't feel alone or anything sad or anything profound. I just feel gentle like the drugs I do when you're not around. In the parking lot, looking at the sky, the heat is beating down, but at least it's dry. I see a white van and a blue van parked side by side, with the windows rolled down, and our friends arrive, while the headlining band's getting high. For the first time, I really don't feel alone or anything sad or anything profound. I just feel gentle like the drugs I do when you're not around. To like the drugs I do when you're not around. Gentle like the drugs I do when you're not around. What you did.
Thank you. Wow, listen, I love this song so much. I like want to make a class about it just because I think it's a beautiful way to go around a progression that's always the best one. Like songs that starts on the 4 chord are always my favorites.
Oh, thanks.
And then you have this 2 to the 3. It's such a nice variation. And it's kind of like smoothly, you can't even know that it's happening or something. Anyway, great writing. Wow, I wish I was writing a song with you. Because I feel like we also have the same range.
Let's do it.
Yeah, okay, let's do it. Let me know. I'll come to Canada.
Yeah, that would be so fun.
I'll do a Toronto.
I'd love to do that.
Montreal thing.
Yes.
Charlotte, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
This was so fun. Please have the best recording and say hi to Phil.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear what you make.
Thank you so much.
And when are you playing a show in New York?
It will be in May. Date TBA.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. With Sima?
Yeah.
Amazing. So I'll make sure to tell people about it later.
Cool.
Amazing. Woo! See you later. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you.